Hi everybody, welcome to episode 2 of the More Life podcast. I feel like I lulled everyone into false sense of security with that wholesome, nice vibes kind of episode because y'all know we're going to change it up. This one's going to be a good one. I like it. We're not going to say what it's about yet, but here are your favorite token black girls.
Hi everyone, my name's Na Anang. I live in Brisbane. I like to run around the track for fun.
Hey guys, my name is Nonto. My Instagram's at Auntie Nonto. I'm a Myanmar-based movement artist. I do a bit of modeling here and there. Yeah, just pick the gram for gigs.
Hi guys, my name is Gamu. My Instagram is at Gamu Makoti.
Guys, we're talking about being the token black girl.
The way I'm so
Already!
I know.
The spirit is alive.
But some of us ain't black enough sometimes.
Oh!
Come on. No, but like on the real though, I feel like a lot of my life I've been a token. Like in like growing up in Africa, different countries, they like was chill, like, you know, even in South Africa, it's like multicultural, we're calm. And then the US, then there was like the differentiation between Black Americans and Africans at our school. And then here, I was like, damn, where'd y'all put us? Like, where is everybody? Where is everyone? And like, bro, especially like high school, it's only like grade 12 where there's another black girl in our grade. And I was like, even when she came in, I was like, no, there's got to be some sort of mistake. Like
The ratio is a bit off there.
Didn't somebody tell you this is an all-white party?
Also, it's like a difference is just being black, but also African. Like what type of, you know, black it is. Like sometimes you can feel quite alone, even with other black people around. Like,
Exactly.
An experience in Australia is very nuanced.
And there's a range as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, facts.
And I feel like I can relate to that because I grew up in Australia. I didn't have that African influence. So it was like, oh, I hang out with the black people, but I'm still white. So
You had black people?
yeah, I mean, there was a few.
Wow. Remember that? But how did you guys grow up? Like, just all your stories, like, in terms of that topic, being the token.
I don't know. Grew up. Well, I wasn't a token because I had a twin sister with me. That sufficed. We were the token tokens.
Aren't twins also tokens? Like, kind of like, the
way
twins.
they used to abuse us. I need to tell you this. For school photos, they used to just put us in random clubs.
Lying. Nah, that's not even lying. That's a token.
That's a hate crime.
I've never played chess in my life. I've never played chess in my life. Oh, that school got cancelled ages ago for other reasons.
Drop the school name. Drop it. I ain't trying to lose no sponsorships. I'm trying to get paid.
But yeah, I feel like they just, once you stand out, they like, this is something we can play on. We can attract more people that look like you, but then it didn't. Did the opposite.
But I feel like they want to attract more people who look like you, but they don't even know how to cater for you when you're in that environment.
Exactly.
Because like I know, for instance, and it's not just schools, it's churches, it's every institution. It has so many where they'll just have the token black people and they'll put you up there for the representation, but like they don't even like make an effort to understand you.
Actually, their values.
Yeah, they're not valuing. They're not valuing you as a person. It's just like, oh, we need to put you up there, so we're gonna put you up there. It's not the reason why people are like, we want representation. I don't think they actually understand the importance of representation and why we want it. Because they still treat us like tokens.
But like, I feel like I've been happy to take advantage of it, if that makes sense. So like, recently, I like a church person, not from my church, asked if I could be in their church's photo shoot. Because obviously they needed some color in there, and I was like, bro. At the time, I was like, bro, okay, like I'm trying to get the check. Let's see, we got exposure in that. And then my brother was like involved as well, and then he couldn't make it. And then they were like, oh, you got anyone with like the same look as him? And I was like, at first I was like, yeah, cool, but I was like, damn, like you really don't have anyone, like you really don't know anybody.
The same look as
and
you.
Like,
that rubs me the wrong way.
I know. I would have replied back being like, what look exactly?
What look exactly?
That's all.
Specify. You want?
I don't know anyone who's lean.
Plays basketball.
Connected beards. What are we looking at?
Not the struggle beards coming in.
The little patchwork beard. The patchwork beard.
Because I think I know a couple.
She got him on a list. No, but like, see, when I saw it, I was kind of like, oh yeah, cool. Like, you gotta do what you gotta do. And so later on that I was like, damn, is that bad for y'all? Like, y'all really don't got anybody? Like, what's the place like that you can't even...
But in saying that, like, if you don't have anyone, like, why are you then searching for people?
Yeah, so, like, you know your problem.
Just so you can have, like, a representation. Like, if you can highlight that there isn't any, then what are you doing
to change it?
To change that?
Did they try to keep you at the church, or were they like, we just want you for the poster?
No, it was literally just come do this photo shoot.
Not catering to what you want.
Exactly. Again, like, not understanding the problem. Right. Like, why?
I'm like, I see what you're trying to do.
But my friend,
absolutely.
But yeah, what's your experience? Because you've grown up in other countries as well.
Oh, so honestly, growing up in UK versus growing up in Zimbabwe, growing up in Australia, it's like similar but different. It's similar in the fact that like when you grow up in a predominantly white community, and I wouldn't say that I just grew up around like white people as such. I grew up with a lot of black influences. Like I had in church, through church, a lot of church, Zimbabwean church, I had Zimbabwean fans, I had Zimbabwean people in my life, but at school, it was mostly just friends with white people.
Yeah.
And, like, a lot of us immigrant children, we move here so young.
Yeah.
So their experience is actually our experience. Like, we know what it's like the jokes that they crack, we find them funny. The music that they listen to, we also listen to. It's not like we had different radio stations growing up.
Yeah.
It's not like
just for Zimbabwean migrants, just for
it's not like we
Namibian migrants.
consume different TV shows.
Yeah,
so a lot of our
exactly.
experiences are the same.
Yeah.
And so then when we behave like they behave on like this level, they then assume that like we're not the stereotype of black that they think we are.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because so many times then as I got older and I started to have my own black experience and I started to connect with other black people, I started listening to African music and doing more like to seek my own culture that they obviously didn't do because they didn't have that in there. Like it wasn't a part of their life.
Yeah.
Suddenly I no longer fit in that box. And so then when I acted out of character, it was like,
Hold on a minute.
hold on
a minute.
Yeah. I remember
gotcha,
saying
gotcha.
like how much I love Taylor Swift's music, and I was like, oh yeah, like her album's coming out, blah blah. This was like a little like a lunch thing, and I was like, wow, you're not very black, are you?
When they hit you, mine was the opposite. I was singing rap one day at school, like true story. True story. I won't even.
She said, I
was gonna drop names. I won't give you a clout. I was in class and I was singing Migos of all people. Anyway, and then this guy was like, to a friend, wasn't even direct to me, to a friend, but you know when they're talking and they're talking to you anyway, and they were like, I mean, she's like black, but she's like not black enough to sing that. It's your father. What do you mean?
And how can you say that?
Because
who gave you the right?
This is where I get onto my point, ladies. I get onto my point. And it's because inherently I feel like when I behave in a way that is not black enough in their minds, it's like, oh, you're not black enough to do that. They control our blackness.
For sure.
And they consider what is black and what is not black. Like,
I feel like it's because of the limited exposure, especially in Australia.
Oh,
like
100%,
the only blackness
100%.
they know is like literally TV.
Facts.
Yeah,
TV.
from
like
American TV shows.
that's it, and that's
stereotypes
done.
and
Exactly,
these
and
ideas
like,
that they form.
and TV is going to determine that as well because like
Yeah.
on TV they only show the stereotypes.
Yeah.
Like
And
even
that's why
like, till
representation
this day, you
matters.
guys, till this day, I've been like sitting around being
100%.
like, okay, when are we gonna get a nice dark skinned
Proper-
black
yeah,
woman
you know what
hurts?
doing
It's
something
like,
nice?
Look at white people. You have the emo, you have the sport, you have the athlete, you have the nice girl, you have this girl, you have the
tall
Addison
girl,
Rae, you have the
yeah.
tall girl, you have the small girl. For them, there is so many different.
You can
characters.
you can literally be
You can
anything.
But for us, there is one version of black that we're
Chris
allowed
Rock.
to be. And if we are,
Wow, we're gonna get started on that. That's a different podcast right there.
if we are not that version of black, that means that we're doing it wrong. Because in their heads, they can't understand that.
Yeah.
We are supposed. This is what black people are like. This is what Asian people are like. This is what Indian people are like. This is what these people are like.
Yeah.
But white people, on the other hand, they can be on
whatever
anything.
they want.
If they want to have cornrows tomorrow, you can't cancel them. They can pick out of any basket, but you like Taylor Swift, and that's not very black of you.
You gotta stop right
That's not
there.
very- but when a white person likes Afrobeats, wow, they're spicy.
Culture, and they know what I mean.
Have you ever been hit with?
bucket hat,
Have you
it's
ever been
like-
hit with like they hit you with like, oh, have you heard this rapper? And you're like, no, and they're like, oh, I'm more black than you.
No. Nah. Because that's in line with the wow, I'm so tan.
They come back from Fiji with the beaded cornrows. Oh,
I'm the same color as you.
Nah, those Fiji trips kill me because they come back being like,
and they're not even good. They're not even good.
The edges of their hair start falling out. Your hair's falling out. Your hairline, Judy, you're going cold.
Why's your hairline receding in 7th grade? Why's your hairline receding in 7th grade?
No. Okay, Nuggles, what's your experience? Because like you said, like Australia's all you've ever known. Actually, no, so I don't think you touched on that. Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, but you had your sister. So that was good.
I had someone.
I didn't have anyone.
Yeah, how
and
was
so
that like?
The minute that there was me and another black girl, it was like, girl, there's only one spot for us.
Yeah,
we've got to fight.
Somebody get this.
6 months we were at each other's neck, and then one day we were both like,
what are we doing?
Minute.
Yeah.
Why are we trying to get people's approval that at the end of the day it doesn't really matter?
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, they don't even understand anything that they're doing, and it's the fact that they've just grown up like this is normal for them. It's they're used to being above everyone else. So I don't know. I feel like my experience was fine, but again, because I grew up with that culture, I feel like I fit in quite well until I was like, wait, why am I trying to be like you?
But I feel like it's also like, especially as you said, like it's just the way it is. I think it's a very subconscious thing. Like we studied a bit in psychology. She's educated. Stop it. It's not all that, but it really is. The way you're humble.
Wow. Humility.
Well, okay, so we studied a bit in psychology, and it was like called the whiteness scale, and
interesting.
It discusses how whiteness is such an odd topic for white people because it's never a concept that they're aware of. True. You see, I feel like our entire lives we have been very aware that we are black. Very
if you forget, they're gonna tell you.
For white people, the idea of race is not something that they've ever confronted with until recent years. Until recent years where we've been like, you're privileged. Because like this.
Reverse racism.
And they're confused now because they actually have never been confronted that they're white. Like, they don't see it. They've never had to see their race. And so I think of it with language. Look at the term POC, people of color. It separates white people from the other. So everything is the other, and white people are them because they have made language to be like that.
Yeah, wow.
And so I think that's why we say, oh, we can get really angry at them. And it's like, it's actually ingrained in society almost, in our language, in the way we discuss things, to place them on this place and to place all of everything that's not white in a box, and to think like African and Indian and Chinese, and these are all totally vastly different experiences, different people, but the fact that we all just place them in a box and say people of color.
Hey, cool, you're that.
It's like, that's
wild.
Enough. It's wild.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just such a testament of what whiteness is.
Have you ever felt like you're not black enough?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's the issue with growing up in a different culture, is that you absorb it so much that there's no room for you to embrace your own culture.
Exactly.
So yeah, I definitely have.
I feel like my experience is different because, like I said, up until I was 13, I was like, the only time I was aware of my blackness was in South Africa, just because we were such a diverse, like in my class, grade 4 of 30 students, we had black people, like Africans, South African, other places in Africa. We had white South Africans, we had people from Scotland, Sri Lanka, we had a Brazilian boy. Like, this is a class of 30. Like, Australia could never. And like diversity is and so like it's only then where I was like, oh damn, like wow, everyone's like different colors, like this is so fascinating. But like it wasn't the same as here, where it's like you step in and like, bro, even if you think you might blend in, they're already touching your hair, they're already stroking your arm, like, and then that's when you're like, damn, am I really that different?
But
like,
why the heck? Why do you have to touch my hair?
Why do you have to pet me like
so
an animal?
Weird.
Literally, like no permission, nothing. Like, and I'm like, I ain't never
just
seen.
grab it.
And they're like, oh, but it's so nice. I'm like, well, Becky's hair was nice. And I didn't
One
see you
that's
stroking
lately been
hers.
going on. It's like, obviously we didn't experience it as much when you're younger, because like in school everybody knows your name, so it's not like every day it's like, oh my goodness, your name is so different, like nah, it's such a unique name. You just get used to it. But like moving to Brisbane now, meeting so many new people, I'm constantly introducing myself, constantly like, oh hi, my name is Gamu, and it's like, oh, that's so unique,
It's exotic.
that's so exciting, that's such an interesting name.
My Nubian princess.
Better yet,
Not the peanut butter Reese's cup.
better yet, it goes, I have such a boring name. My name is Emily. It's such a boring white name. What did you expect? You're white. You're white. What did you want your mum to name you?
She wanted Teddy. She wanted Beyonce. Adiola.
Your mother to call you Adiola. Like, of course she's gonna call you Emily. You are such a basic white. You're white, Emily. What do you mean?
Yo.
What do you say to you?
Yeah.
But like, have you ever changed? I'm just gonna go straight up and admit it. Like, my name is not Gugu. It's not but like, you gotta just change a little bit, make it easier. Even like the other day, I was talking to my auntie and my mom, and I was like, because I call myself Sile at work, when my first name is Sile. And then I was like, bro, I ain't even gonna bother trying to make these people try to say that. Like, I'm just like, let's keep it simple.
You should have seen, because we went to university together. The way one of our tutors got her name wrong. Every week,
I was
it was different. It was like Sally one week. It was Shiley.
It's the
it wasn't. And then this girl was like, yeah.
I'm just like, that's me. Like, yeah, I'm sure you guys did this like at school. Like, if I don't know, because I know you used different names at school.
I use a different name,
But like, before the role even started, I'd be like, I'm the one who is whatever. Because my name starts like my last name. I'd be like, that's me.
It would always be like this. I'm not even gonna attempt this one.
I'm so sorry.
Actually, so rude. That used to annoy me. The ones where it's like, I'm not even gonna attempt this. What?
So you're not gonna give me the decent respect.
That's my name. You don't even attempt it. What?
And sometimes though, I'd like sit back and just wait.
I'm gonna say right now. How are you telling me you can't pronounce my name, but you can go and say supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, but you cannot pronounce my name, which is phonetic. It is
literally phonetic.
Right, it is spelled how it is said. Why are you gonna hear about it? Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
And they look at quinoa and they're like, that's quinoa.
And you're like, it's called paella. It's a Spanish dish. Hey, you guys, don't try. Is what you're telling me.
Man.
Not even that. And I don't even pronounce my name. Like, I don't give them my entire name. I just say Gamu. Oh, Gamu. And you're still like, Gamu. Gamu. Give me. Oh my god, it's so hard. It's so hard. I'm just not used to exotic names like this.
Even Gugu, they're just like,
They struggle.
I'm like, just repeat after me, my G. Like, you ain't gotta complicate it. You ain't gotta complicate it.
Yeah.
Wait, but the way if you pronounce their name wrong,
And then the
way if you pronounce their name wrong, they'll be like, no, it's this, and they will.
It's not Sean. It's Sean.
It's not Danica, it's Danica.
Yeah. Can you cut that out? I know. Cancelled. The way she yelled at me when I said her name wrong. I was like,
Okay, but speaking of using fake names, because I know we've all done this. When you go to put in an order and they're like, "What's your name?"
Mine's Sophie.
Brooke.
Rachel. Mine's Judy.
Rachel. Can you tell me why this woman looked me in the eyes? Raquel.
Right there is a violation.
Definitely. I would have done it. She was like, nah, it can't be that easy. It can't be that simple. What is it really?
But then you
said it. Yeah.
I already said it.
You're done.
You already said it. You're done.
Did I go back to that store?
No.
You're done.
You don't get my business.
You can't get my
Absolutely
business.
not.
You can't take my money.
Rachel, right?
Yeah.
Rachel, it's one of your names.
You're like, Raquel out. When I go back to the place. When I go back to the place.
Yeah. Wow.
That's wild. Imagine Raquel.
As you can tell, I'm very much over it.
Yeah.
My name has been a very big thing for me because I went by Michelle all through because I just didn't want to go through the whole process of like, it's Nonto. Nonto. And then like they butcher it every time.
It's such an easy name.
It's such an easy name. So
anyway.
I just started using Michelle because it's easier. My parents were like, just use Michelle because we're also sick of it. Yeah. And the same with my sister. We started, and they're our middle names. So it was like, okay, it was fine because we didn't just like pick a name out of the hat. But I'm still going through the process of introducing myself using my first name because it's only recently I started using my first name, and it's only recently I've realized this is why I actually use my middle name. It's too much.
Actually, nah. Like, it's a big step, my G.
Yeah.
Why is it always to jump to say your name is too hard?
It's some people didn't even try, you know. They just they just look at it and they're like, "Oh, do you have another name? Can I just?"
I've gotten that. I've gotten that.
Or like, "What's your nickname?" I'm like, no. That's my nickname because Gugu is my nickname.
Yeah, Nonto is my nickname.
My second name, but like it's sort of like a
I think it's so funny how most of us have shortened our names
anyway,
and you're still failing.
My short name is Nah. 3 letters. Is there? Do you have anything shorter than that? What do you want? And I literally cannot give you any more.
I've stretched myself. I'm getting that all.
My resources are done. Yeah, because
names are actually like a lot bigger than people realize. Yeah, and I think it's something that you probably don't realize if you have an easy name. Yeah. And like it's not your fault, but then it's just like how you're gonna act around it when you do find out that names are big.
I think it's actually so important, especially for most of us in African descent. Like a lot of our names have such big meaning.
Yeah,
and there's so much pride in our names. Like our parents 100%. Just didn't hand out names. They were like naming us with purpose,
praying about it, taking time, consulting family.
I have a cousin named Watch.
It's because he's always on time.
Are you sure?
She was quick with it.
Yeah, not gonna lie. Some of these parents need to calm down on these names.
Okay.
I have a friend named Patience, which is a beautiful name.
That's a beautiful one.
I have a name like Prophesy, Providence.
I went to school with January.
No, guys, it's like
what
it's
is
like
the
name May. Nah. Those are people's names.
Yeah.
No,
I love you,
name
Cousin Watch.
Yeah, you're gonna.
Have you guys heard Absidy?
ABCDE.
Yeah, I actually think that's really nice. Like not the spelling, but the name. Like
the name is beautiful.
I'm serious. It's a beautiful name.
ABCDE.
Oh, my name is Absidy.
Wait, where'd you forget this? Absidy. And the middle name is Limpy. And the middle.
Limnoki.
It took me a minute for it to click.
You're wrong for that.
You see, I've grown up where I was like, damn, I didn't even know there was black people in Brisbane, to be honest. Like, I don't know where they're all at. Like, at least, like, a lot of black people my age. And then when I was in grade 10, I discovered, grade 10-ish, I discovered black people on Instagram, like, not even in Brisbane, just, like, celebrities around the world or whatever. Or, like, micro-influencers where
that's
like, you know
cool.
they're a real person.
That's nice.
For me,
Auntie Nonto.
At Auntie Nonto, AAUNTYNONTO.
Follow me there. That's where you find my link tree.
My link tree.
Oh man! But no, that's why I was like, oh, like you know, just real people doing stuff. Like, and then even like learning how to do my hair, I was like, hey, cool. Like this person does it this way, and I like that. You know, their makeup is like that. Just finding someone who looks like you.
Hair and makeup. That
literally. No, that's the whole conversation. And then I graduated school, and then I started like just hanging out with more black people, and I was like, oh damn, this is fascinating. Yeah. But then in some circles, I'd be like, nah, I don't know how to do that dance. Like, I don't know what that means.
And then that's when it's like, oh, I'm not black enough.
Even speaking your language, you'd be like,
oh, I don't.
A little shy with the accent. You'd be like, throw some words here and there.
Nah, because that's the unspoken. You know how I don't know how to say this without being cancelled. You know how like a lot of mixed kids will be like, oh, I wasn't black enough for the black kids, and I wasn't white enough for the white kids. I feel like a lot of immigrants actually face that, but with culture. Yeah. Because we will never be Australian or white enough to fit in an Australian context. But even when we go back to our home countries,
everybody knows
we're too colonized. We're so different there. Like I know when I go back to Zimbabwe, like it's home, but at the same time it's like, oh, the Australians are here, you know.
Yeah, literally.
You know, Varungu vedu Zoka, which is basically like the white people, you know, have come back. Like you never feel like you're fully Zimbabwean.
Yeah.
And even when I'm in Australia, I'm Zimbabwean in Australia. Oh, she's African. I'm never Australian. And so I feel like there's this constant feeling of like, where do I belong?
Yeah,
for sure,
100%.
Like as an immigrant, it's like, which box do I fit in? Because I don't fit in either of them.
Yeah.
But you also fit in both.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You do fit in both, which like gives you so many advantages. Like I feel like just your life experience and the way you see other people, the way you see things. Like just things that like I just be realizing stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And then
Kylie.
Just be realizing things. Realizing friends were just realizing stuff this year. Yeah.
But like sometimes you peep something and you're like, how is nobody else in this room seeing this? But then you've got like your whole like, because you don't only carry your experiences, you carry like your parents' experiences, your friends' experiences.
But I also feel like you carry other minorities' experiences.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like you're much more aware.
Yeah, exactly. Even like just relating to other like minority groups, not just in terms of race, but like you sort of like get their struggle and get where they're at. So it's like that positive aspect, but at the same time, when you're in a space where it's like, I'm just trying to succeed, but you're the odd one out and you're not accepted there, like it is just a negative thing.
I feel like also because the whole topic is like token black girl and stuff, I feel like even as Black women, our experience is so different to Black men even or other women.
Yeah,
because I was thinking we learnt about this also in the same lecture.
What qualified? They're covering everything. They cover everything.
You know, as Nas said earlier, like white men are at the top, and this is like a psychological theory. It's like white men are at the top of like the pyramid of, let's say, whiteness. They're at the top because, you know, they have the most advantages. And just beneath white men, hypothetically, you have Black men and white women. And that is because they both only have one thing stopping them from being at the top as well.
Yeah,
for Black men, it's their race which inhibits them to be at the same level as white men. And for white women, it's their gender which inhibits them. Whereas Black women, we are below because we have both which inhibit us. And I feel like this is why there's a disconnect with Black men with understanding us and with white women and with empathizing with us. Because when you see during the Me Too movement, Black women, white women were all like, you know, let's stop this. Let's come together. Yeah. And you see Black men are now on white men's side, and they're kind of like, it's not all men. It's not all men.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
But then when you look at
the Black Lives Matter movement,
white women go all hush hush, and they do
and then
this
you got
side, and then you've got
quiet.
the Black men now being like, but Black Lives Matter, and the white women are now like, oh, but all lives matter.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
Blue lives and Black women, we're on both sides fighting, saying Black Lives Matter. We're tired.
Have you felt in recent times that it can be an advantage?
Yes. Coming back to what you were saying about having an advantage, I do feel like because of my sport, I had all these companies reaching out to me being like, hey, you know, we want to partner with you. And I really struggled with that whole like, do I get the cash?
Yeah.
Or do I give them the inclusivity that they want to portray that they have? And I didn't end up doing it because I don't know.
Yeah, it's just I've been taking the money. I can't lie.
Yeah, me too. I'm like, I'm gonna sell out.
I know. I mean, yeah, but it was a real struggle for me because I don't know. I felt like I had to take a stand against that, and not saying that if you didn't do that, like I totally understand. Yeah. But for me, it was just like, if you didn't care about me before this, like it hasn't actually changed. Yeah. I don't really want sympathy money. Like I wanted you to come on board because you valued me as a person, and then to build a relationship from that. So does my bank account agree with that?
I feel like,
but your conscience, but my conscience, I sleep well at night.
In Google's way, like it's an advantage definitely because it puts you in places you probably would have never been previously. But at the same time, it can be quite disheartening, as Nas said, because like, for instance, as a musician, if people are only putting you on stage because they need like a Black singer, it's hard because it's like, I'm also quite talented.
Yes, they're not acknowledging that
you're undermining my gift by putting me there and saying like, especially when people are like, oh, they need the diversity. We need diversity on stage. We're going to put a singer there, a Black person in there. And it's like, do you want me because I'm talented and because I'm good at my craft, or do you want me because I'm Black?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in a sense, like, or, you know, they could want you for both, that you're Black and because you're talented, but either way, it undermines.
The conversation is still about being Black instead of just acknowledging.
And I feel like
people.
I feel like it has the opposite effect then, because then when you get something because you're good, everyone's like, oh yeah, they should probably got there because they needed diversity. Yeah. So then, even when you've worked hard for something, people sort of look at it and be like, and
I think that's like one of the things in myself that I worked so hard in life for. Like I've driven myself to be like, I'm going to work so hard to get to these places or to enter these spaces that no one can say that I got it for any other reason than my pure dedication, my
sure,
pure talent, the amount of time I spent working, because I saw how many people would get undermined and you'd be like, they deserve to be there. Because regardless of the fact that they were black, they should have been in that room. Regardless of the fact that she was Aboriginal, they should have been there. And I feel like when we get these like handouts of diversity, then we're so undermined as people, and it's like, oh, it's because she was black. Oh, it's because they're Aboriginal. It's because they gave them that opportunity for that reason. It's like, no, they're actually super talented.
Yeah. And those handouts or those opportunities aren't actually like common. They actually don't come very often either. And there's only room for one. That's the thing.
Sorry, you already have a black model. We don't
Did you see those brief Diet Prada? I'm telling you, I love them. They like Prada. They kind of like expose people in the fashion industry, not just about racism, just everything. But they were like coming out showing all these people like black models getting an email, and it's like the list of models that they want, and it's like one black model, one Latina model.
They're literally check boxes as you go.
And then you say, oh, but and then a white person would turn around and be like, I didn't get that opportunity. I would have been perfect for that role, but like they needed a black person. And it's like,
around.
There's a whole list of things. And there's 30 people who are white. You could have been one of the odds are in your favor. The odds are in your favor. Girl, if you didn't get it, you probably didn't get it because you weren't good enough. Like it had nothing to do with your race. You were simply not good enough. They were more qualified than you.
Stop it.
Like what? I know it's probably hard. It's probably not the right. Is it the time to bring it up? You know,
are you gonna get me cancelled? Because you can cancel yourself.
I'm interested. Please, I need to know.
It's like, for instance, with the Will Smith situation.
That's a conversation.
Like, Will Smith did something bad, very bad. I'm not going to condone it. It wasn't good. He shouldn't have done that.
Was it that bad?
But to watch someone's, so he did he did something bad. I'm going to say, I'm not saying it was terrible. It's not the worst. There's a lot of people in that room who have done much worse things. But he did a bad thing in a place, and yes, he was held accountable. But I definitely feel as though to watch a man's entire career crushed to one moment just shows you how quick they are to snuff it out.
That was like, did you see that tweet about how Donald Trump, convicted pedophile, is the president?
Yeah.
And
Harvey Weinstein still has all his.
I heard
Woody Allen.
I heard a phrase. Right? All the phrases like, "I've lost all my respect for Will Smith." Excuse yourself, you're president.
Literally,
Donald Trump,
former
president for a good reason.
Donald Trump
is literally
was a racist, was a pedophile, was a misogynist, and you were like, oh,
keep Trump.
This
in
person
make America great again. Let's make America great again. Take it out of context.
Are you gonna make it a little clip?
A little bit of a soundbite, and I'm gonna be the one doing it. I'm gonna be using that.
But like, let's be real here. And then you're gonna tell me one moment. And I'm not saying, okay, whatever. Will Smith had an explanation for it. I'm not gonna say, oh, it's true or not true. But you know, he apologized. He did the right thing at the end of the day. There's nothing more he could have done. Yeah, if the best thing in the situation was not doing it at all, but if you do something and you apologize, that's all you can do. He can't take it back.
But are we not going to talk about those N-word apology videos? Sorry, keep going.
Okay,
so he apologizes, and
and he's always been like just the nice guy. Like he's never done anything else.
His career though, has Will Smith ever done anything to this degree, or even in this realm? Has he ever made any bad things that we can be like, oh, this is repeated behavior. This is repeated behavior. He's a terrible guy. We need to cancel him. But for him to do one thing and you to be like, we've lost all our respect for him. He's terrible.
Banned for 10 years.
You've just reminded. It just proves to me that no matter whether or not you're in the room and you have a seat at the table, not to ever forget that at the end of the day you are black.
It can be taken away.
And it can be taken away in like 2 minutes.
And you just have to look at the way, like even just in Australia, the way they talk or people talk about black people, where it's like if you've made this achievement, it's like our very own African Australian has made this wonderful. Don't cut out the African. Just say this young Australian is whatever.
Can we talk about my friend?
Bro, they tried it with him, you know. They tried it with him.
Tell it for the people who don't know.
He was trying to find a place in Melbourne. He's from South Sudan, and they were like, South Sudanese people are thugs. Couldn't get anywhere.
Yeah.
Now he's come forth at the Olympics. Our hero.
Australian.
And it's like, where were you
when he was
literally?
Yeah.
And then someone will do something bad, like, this immigrant has done
and
this.
Then
Did I mention that he was?
They love you when you're profiting them. They love you when you look good for them, but they don't want you for who you are. They don't want your culture. They don't want everything that comes about you. They just want you in this context and when it looks good for them, when it benefits them.
And I feel like it's worse in a country like Australia because it's only multicultural on paper, really. Like you've got a lot of people here.
They don't realize they're bad.
Yeah.
Like the amount of times, I don't know if you guys heard it, Australia's not racist. That's just in America. It's over there.
Yeah. Then they come and they're like, it's so sad what's happening over there, isn't it?
Yeah, but look,
I love it. Okay, I'm not going to compare us to
your daughter.
America, but just because it's not as bad, just because it's not as bad to you on paper, just because you don't think it's as bad, doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Yeah, like we've
just because there's not the gun violence, there's not the police brutality that you can see every day, that you can see every day. That is so blatant. Like America is like, when you call it blatant racism, just because it's not blatant doesn't mean it doesn't exist, love.
Honestly, I
we
feel
just
like
sweep
this
it
one
under
is
the rug.
worse. I feel like this one is
because
worse.
we're so banter culture. Banter culture in Australia.
Oh, is it just a joke, man? I said the N-word. It's in the song.
It's a song joke. Or you guys are you're taking everything. You can't say anything. Everything's so politically correct.
Hold on. First of all, if my brothers can rap sicko mode from start to finish without a single swear word in
Come
there,
on.
surely you can skip one word.
As an African Christian, I can tell you right now, love, you can miss the words. I can sing any Nicki Minaj song without a swear word in it, love.
You just be like, hey.
No, because I could actually give you a demo. I'm not joking, guys.
My question is, how old were you the first time you were called the N-word?
Primary school. I got called the N-word. I got called African booty scratcher. I got dirty.
I know what. I think it's actually I was quite lucky when I grew up in England. I don't think I ever got called the N-word. It was in Australia when it was first said to me, which is funny. And it was in Australia and I was about grade 5 and that's the year I moved to Australia. So
yeah.
But my brother, on the other hand, Simba, he was called it in like grade 3. So it just shows you maybe it's
in the US even, like, obviously, like, the N-word has been reclaimed, so it was different. Like, I was never called it. I don't think I even came across it much unless it was like two guys talking to each other or whatever. But here, same thing. The first year I was the first year of me being here, and it was on a like, oh, so can I call you a
Ooh, they're like, can I have a ticket? Or what's
literally the pass. But like, interesting. But like, I feel like at the time when you've just moved to this country, everyone there like looks nothing like you.
Yeah.
Like you just want to fit in.
Yeah.
I'm like,
oh, totally.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
I'm like, yeah, okay, cool.
You let it pass.
And then like you do for a while, and then it's only when I change, and that's when people are like, you're not cool anymore.
Yeah.
And I was like, hold on a minute.
Or do you ever get like, can I get the N-word pass? This other black person gave me the
Bruh.
pass. Why won't she give me the pass?
Yeah.
Because do I look like him?
Yeah.
You're telling me that they called him. Go talk to him then. Why are you coming to me? If he gave it to you, why are you asking me, love? Like, did he give you a good enough one? Do you want a gold pass one? What do you want? Oh, here's a gold pass N-word card. There you go, love.
Membership.
Has it expired? Has it actually expired?
Like, what? What do you want? Like, I don't care.
Literally.
Oh
my goodness. What was your answer to the question now?
I would say 5th grade, I think, was the first time that I remember. And I remember going to, because I was very athletic from a young age. I used to play soccer with the boys. Flex.
She said, I'm not like the other girls.
I'm built different.
But yeah, I remember I was like playing. I beat this guy, scored a goal, Yeah, and then this kid called me the N-word for it. And obviously I was like, that don't stand. Went straight to his teacher. And they were like, I'm sure he didn't mean it.
No.
He's young. He doesn't
I have so much to say
understand.
about the
He
N-word
doesn't.
teachers.
He doesn't understand.
I have so much to say
He's
about
young.
this.
Can you just forgive him this one
Yeah,
time?
yeah.
That's terrible. What the heck?
Time?
No.
I was like, nah, I can't trust none of y'all.
Yeah,
Even your
100%.
teachers don't stand up for you.
No, I feel like teachers and schools are the worst for it, especially with
English
racism.
teachers.
Yeah.
When
Bro,
to kill a mockingbird.
I was just part of the book.
They condone it, and
Yeah.
especially people in positions of authority like teachers.
Yeah.
It is not that
Because
cannot
if
slide.
you can
Yeah.
see your
The
teacher
kids.
doing it,
Yeah.
like
Because
it
then
goes.
oh,
You're
Miss
the
Evans
adult.
said it.
You're
they're the adult, they're the authority, and so now
Miss Evans is getting a divorce.
The child is in prison. Oh,
I'm so confused.
Miss Evans said it. It's fine. No.
I was like, who's Miss Evans? Why are we talking about a divorce? I was like, Nonto, what are you on about? No. I was like, you guys all got it. I was like, did y'all know what Miss Evans is? Miss Evans.
No, I feel that because in school, my class was the only class who didn't do To Kill a Mockingbird, and Tawa was in the class who did it, and
That's
they'd
her
say
sister.
the N word, and it's a word that's prominent, like it's in almost every page. I haven't read it. I'm just
Yeah.
assuming, but it broke my sister's heart because she went up to the English teacher and she said, "Can we just not say the word?" And the English teacher was equating it to being like, "I'm a woman. I know what oppression feels like." It's English. It's just a word. There's no substance to the word, and she's minimizing this word that's been used to like hate on us, and it broke every English lesson. How she'd leave the class, I'd leave the class, and she'd just sit in the hallway and cry because this teacher's condoned it. And once the teacher condones it, as you said, students are saying it in the playground. They're playing it in the cars, like singing songs with the word. And I'm like,
And I think because it's been allowed for so long, now to try and call it up and be like, hey, and especially with the whole argument that one black person said it's okay, so now it must be okay for all black people.
Yeah.
It just makes it so hard to overcome it and to get to a position where it's like we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
I feel like that's also another example of how, as Black people, especially in a country like Australia, like you represent everyone else.
Yeah.
Like you can't be your own
You're
person.
not an independent person.
Anything you do will reflect everyone else's
Yeah.
stuff. And I feel like that's a lot of weight on
Yeah.
people being like, you gotta act right or else we're all gonna struggle and like that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it's
And I
like,
don't- I don't know about you guys, but I felt like with the whole BLM, everyone was coming to me like, can you just explain to me like what's going
first
on?
of all, it's not my role.
First,
You
you
learn.
learn.
Yeah,
You
right.
do the
First,
research.
there's this
I'm
really really great thing
Yeah.
that we have in this generation, and it's
Iconic.
called.
It's iconic.
It is it's called the internet.
Oh,
And,
Google. I need y'all to stop. Actually, hold on. No, this is
PSA.
me coming from the heart. I need y'all to stop asking me what happens with my hair. Okay?
Oh my
because we got
days.
tutorial videos out there.
YouTube! And also,
TikTok.
it's none of your damn business.
90% of our childhood, we were just trying to be like everyone else.
Yeah,
we
To the
just
point where
exactly.
we were just you were
relaxed
just
our hair.
holding on.
Although it's a great look.
You were just holding on to them, like you were walking into rooms just hoping that it wouldn't be brought up,
Yeah.
that
Exactly,
your hair wouldn't
yeah.
be brought up, that your skin tone wouldn't be brought up, that how the color you were wouldn't be brought
Yeah.
up, that when the lights went off in a bus,
Oh,
the first
Someone
thing
wouldn't
that-
be like, oh my goodness,
goodness,
I can't see you anymore.
the joke is dead, love.
It was never funny. You just
No.
laugh to
Yeah.
protect yourself.
Yeah.
To,
Yeah,
like,
100%.
not
Because
be
you
the
didn't want to be
party pooper.
controversial.
Exactly.
You didn't want to be controversial. You didn't want to hold them accountable because you weren't allowed to. It was wrong. So you just kept your mouth shut. Like a good little blackie.
Oh.
Like
Yes,
one of the good blacks.
Like
One of the
Like
good
one of the
blacks. I need to start talking to some of y'all parents.
Yeah, facts.
Honestly.
Because, like, how is this running? Like, surely, like, they can't be learning, especially when they're really young. Like, they didn't learn this from the internet. They learned this
No.
from you, man.
like, how do we have children in the shops pointing at me saying, "Why is her skin that color? Why have you not shown your
Yeah,
child
Like, at this age,
that there is
that child has gotten all his vaccines in town. We know it's been out of the house.
Oh,
yeah,
How is it
man.
not learned about any of this stuff yet?
Mm.
If it can talk like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
100%.
Yes, I called it it.
And,
Okay.
and the
I'm
worst thing
hung up
is
on
like
that.
these, like it's children, and children repeat what they hear.
Exactly.
They are way too young. Some of these kids, where you hear these racist phrases, like I'm talking grade 3 was when Simba first got called the N-word. How is someone in grade 3 like that's
don't
they're just
know.
regurgitating
Yeah.
what they've
Exactly,
heard.
yeah.
They don't know
Yeah, they don't
where
know
does
the
that
meaning.
come from.
Yeah.
Mm.
And there's somewhere you see it in a family trend. There's someone who, like, I went to school with for a little bit, and like they were like that, and then their younger siblings were like that, and then like the way just their parents would act around situations that ended up, you'd be like, oh,
it makes sense.
That explains it. That explains it.
Nature.
But then, like, I also had this thought. I was like, and I'm sure we've all had it. We're like, oh, it's okay. Like, the old people are gonna die, and then we'll be all good. But then you meet someone your age,
and it's shocking.
And you're like, what the
I
heck?
grew up in Mariba, love. I grew up with people my age who would say blatant racist things.
It was mad because, like, I think for me, because I was always like friendly, gentle, that sort of thing. I feel like people would be like not want to let it show because like, oh no, like I don't want to hurt her. She's nice, that sort of thing. But the second we got to, what was it, March 2020? Bro, people showed their true colors. Like, really, and like I think that's when I was like, damn, like young people too. And like I've never felt like I got to cut anyone off, but like, I had to cut people off because I was like, nah, this ain't good for me, you know?
Really
like,
did.
but it was actually like mad. Like I think I was in disbelief. I was like, nah, they didn't really mean it like that. Surely that was a typo, like at all.
And then they post on their stories to clarify.
Yeah, right?
And exactly. It's like, oh, okay, so you did.
Oh, you actually are.
Yeah.
But I think, like, no, but I'm not racist. It's just, with the discussion at the moment.
But I feel like for me, I grew up with a lot of racism. Like a lot of racist people were my friends. And so it was like a different experience where it was like I didn't have that big prevailing moment where I was like, oh my goodness, these people are actually racist. This is what they believe. Yeah. It was like I was surrounded by it. And it was kind of like pick your poison. Like, which racist are you going to be friends with? Which one is the least racist kind of thing? They all had that kind of inherent beliefs. Like, you would hear it in conversation. Like, the things they would say, I don't even want to say them. It was awful stuff that I heard. Especially towards, I think, a large part of Australian racism that is undiscussed is the amount of Australians who are racist towards Aboriginal people.
Oh, this is their country. This is their land.
The racism towards Aboriginal people in this country is disgusting. I will even say it's above as an African. Like, awful. People who they'd be friends with, by the way. People who they're on footy teams with. People that would call their own brothers. And they'd say these horrendous things. It's like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, for sure.
That you can say that. And I think... like going around it, you just almost become conditioned to it.
Exactly.
Desensitized
to it
day to day.
And like now, actually moving to Brisbane, shockingly, we're talking about how bad Brisbane is, but moving to Brisbane kind of made me like, it was like a wake up call. It's like, this isn't normal. Like, this is not how people behave. This is like people around here. Like if they were to say half of the stuff they say in Mariba and Brisbane, they'd be cancelled. Like this is not okay.
I can't imagine what country Australia is like, my G. Because like, I know, have you guys heard of this? It's like a group of people that go around to country towns and basically like educate people there. And go to schools and stuff like that. Have you heard of them?
I've never heard of that.
No, but they should have come to Mariba.
You're like, that one. Can I write down your next one?
Because I ain't come to my town yet.
I feel like with this topic as well, it's so hard to just have that small conversation. Because things, like there's so much depth and there's stuff that can be taken out of context. And I think for someone who listens to, let's say, the first 20 minutes of our discussion, it's so easy to brush aside what we're saying where we haven't gone to the actual depths of it. And I think so many people, even through the movement, even through these conversations, they brush aside what people are saying because it sounds so dramatic or it sounds
repetitive.
Repetitive.
Hear
like
what
by
they
now,
want to hear.
Exactly. So if you are listening to this and you're already like, oh, we've heard this all before. Like we know you did that thing at that youth group where you talked about like you don't listen to it again.
Yeah, I did listen to that.
It's my solidified.
It's so intricate and layered.
Yeah,
and I think
a great way to put it.
No one experience is the same as another experience. And I think hopefully from taking from this podcast, you can hear how you have 4 Black women, but all of our experiences, despite them being interlinked, are quite different.
For sure.
Like,
and nuance.
You know, there's so many things that we can be like, oh, I relate to that. There's other things where you're like, damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, even like listening to you right then, I'm like, wow, really?
Yeah. It's like there's so many. And so I think that's one thing maybe to take from this is that you should never look at a Black person and think that you understand, because even as Black people, we don't understand each other's stories. So how the hell are you gonna tell me, oh no, I have Black friends, I understand? Like how
I know Black friends. I have Black friends.
Like how are you gonna tell me?
My brother's girlfriend is Black.
They have a worse.
My auntie's sponsor child.
I know someone you might know. My cousin's sister's nephew-in-law is dating someone who's from Liberia.
Do you know them?
I think a big part of it is also the fact that I grew up in like a Christian community where you kind of assume that everyone's nice.
Now,
why is that my mistake? Am I the problem?
I'm sorry
to assume that y'all were nice because you're
unpopular opinion. I feel like sometimes Christians are the worst
because they'll be throwing Bible verses at you.
Right? I feel like I saw that especially during the Black Lives Matter movement. A lot of Christians were definitely the problem.
Right? I feel like it was used a lot to brush stuff aside. Like, you know, the love and light sort of energy that like like, you know, sadness is happening,
I
but at least Jesus will be
see
back
color.
and have to whatever.
I don't see color.
Right?
Oh my god, that is so crazy. You should really get that checked. Actually, you should get that checked. You should go
optometrist.
You should go get some color correcting glasses because I am very black.
Yes,
and I would like you to see that, and I would like you to understand my experience instead of brushing it aside because you choose not to see color. You dismissing my blackness is an insult, not a compliment.
Let's go.
She said it. You know how we're talking about different experiences? I feel like I had another layer of experience being an athlete. Wow. Because I wasn't born in Australia. So already, alarm bells. Wow, you speak such good English when you're born here.
That English thing.
And this one was the one that got me. I was on my first ever Australian team. Obviously so excited. And I said some passing comment about, I hope one day I could be the flag bearer. And then someone in my team was like, well, you're not Australian, so you could never do that.
My citizenship says otherwise.
Yeah, and I was just like, for me, I was just like, bro, there was no need to say that. And then he was like, when I started crying, then he was like, oh, it was just a joke. You can't take a joke.
And there's that banter
is a joke. And I'm like, well, did I laugh?
But it's also like
laughing with
but I feel like that also interplays with the thing that you were talking about. They only want you when it's beneficial for them. Because if you won a medal for Australia, the last thing that they would say is,
but she's not born
not born in Australia, but she's not actually Australian.
Yeah.
You know,
they don't want to give credit to anyone else.
They want to take the credit then, but when it's something like that, they're like, oh, but you're not actually Australian.
Where do you go?
I
was the only black person on that team. There was nowhere to go to.
Yeah.
Except my mum was there ready to throw some hands at some 100-year-old boy.
Thank you, Mum.
As she should.
Yeah.
Because I've been ready to throw hands.
Yeah. Oh, you are so loud. Is that, do your people, are they just loud?
The way I get hushed so often. It's not my fault, your big ears.
Okay.
Cut that, please cut that. No, I'm sorry. That's going on there.
Well, I'm sorry, don't worry.
I was going to say, I'm sorry, don't worry.
I'm done.
I feel like we had to fight to be heard, though. Like
you do.
Yes.
No one's
I had to fight to be heard. That's why
I'm hungry. You're gonna starve.
But like, actually, no. Growing up, though, I was always told like I speak too loud, too fast, and too much. And so I'm actually quieter now than I was growing up. Like when I was younger, like
all those bubbly kids who always thought they talk too much, or that they're, you know, they're too loud and things like that, and it's just because you're a bubbly kid. But I feel like that's another discussion. Entirely, because I think me, the extrovert who's like, I want to play, I want to talk to my friends, I want to be me, I'm being quiet, and you're just like, come here, you're being too much, and you don't understand how much I'm trying. Whereas Nessa in the corner is like, who? She's just like living her best life, and then she's just like, don't start for you, Nessa.
Camille's like, she doesn't know what's going on. That's why she's quiet.
Nessa being quiet because Nessa got no thoughts going on. Nessa's a little dumb, innit? Nessa hasn't said anything since 09. What? Okay, Nessa.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into episode 2 of More Life. I always do that. I do that, and then I like drop it down.
Too funny.
But no, this conversation actually went somewhere I didn't think it was going to go. Like I was like, yeah, cool, just a brief conversation about this, but literally,
Why did you think that though?
I knew. I was like, yeah, it'll go longer, but nah, this time they'll make it short. This time we'll go short. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you guys for coming on. What's your @ one more time if people want to?
My @ is at Auntie Nonto on Instagram, AUNTYNONTO. Don't forget it. Yo. She
said, what's happening, anybody? Thanks for tuning into this next
It's Nappy Boy Radio.
She want that love. Okay, so I've been Gamu. I will remain to be Gamu.
She's not dropping her full app because she said some stuff this episode.
No, my at on Insta is at Gamu Makoti, GAMUMAKOTI. Pronounced how it is spelled.
Phonetically, my G.
You know what? Let's start with Twitter. My Twitter is Chronicles of Nah.
Oh.
My Snapchat is Actually, no, don't be sending me Snapchat. Sorry. I don't know you like that. My Instagram is Oh Yeah Nah. Stay tuned for my TikTok.
Hey, that's a TikTok. That's a TikTok. And y'all know where to find me. But thank you so much for listening to the podcast. If you have any thoughts, send them down in our comments or even in the DMs. Like, let us keep the conversation going because I think we went places and places are, there's still more to explore. This conversation has levels to it, and we want to acknowledge those levels. We have to keep going deeper for our kids, for the future,
for the people.
More love and more life to you. Bye. Everybody's coming to play. We talking about token black girls. No one understands the struggle like a black girl. We've been through it till the day we were born. Going to white schools, raised from the Bronx. I ain't ever been to America. I don't